It was, the Cold War had this huge variety, really fresh, fertile ground from gameplay that we could choose from. So, first of all, it was a global conflict. These deniable covert missions took place all across the globe. So, pretty much any continent is fair game in our game. We've only confirmed 2 locales: Southeast Asia and Soviet Russia. But rest assured, there's more places that you're going to visit in Black Ops. So, just a lot of different environments we could create. And then not only that, but then the weapons, a huge variety of weapons. This era, it's a long era, so there's lots of weapons, and most of the modern weaponry that you see was birthed right there in this era. So it's going to be familiar, very lethal weapons. And then when you drill down into the Black Ops sort of subgenre within the Cold War, a whole nother row of doors open up in terms of creative freedom that we have. Rather than trying to find, really trying to hunt down new experiences and new scenarios for the players, we just have sort of like them coming from every direction, and we get to pick and choose which ones we have time to do, because there's just that many of them. We spoke to veterans of that era and veterans of those conflicts who were in these special Black Ops teams, and they would tell us all this fascinating stuff, all these fascinating stories about their missions that they went on, and that's really inspired us to create a lot of the content in Black Ops. Their view is positive. I mean, they liked it. They always go in with a very critical eye, and we of course have to look at the game from a gameplay standpoint first. Is it fun? That's why we call it a plausible fiction, a plausible authenticity that we're creating. So take for example when in Victor Charlie you saw Woods, and he had a God, I'm blanking on the name. He had a walkie-talkie strapped to his shoulder right here, and so what he was able to do is he was able to just bring his hand up here and touch, and then talk into it, and then communicate with his squad. John Plaster looked at that, and he was like, no, we would never put our radio right there, because it would get fried, with all the rain. You would have that thing sealed up in your backpack, and it would be nice and secure. Well, that would make really terrible gameplay if every time that our soldiers tried to communicate with each other, if they had to take their backpack off, unzip it, open it up, dial in the right frequencies. That would just be really boring. So we left it there, even though it's not necessarily as historically accurate as possible. It's plausible fiction, right? That's sort of like a Hollywood thing to do. Another one, Sonny Puzikas, he's a former Russian Spetsnaz operative. He got to come in and take a look at the game, and he's not so sure that a Hind helicopter would be in Laos, which it is in our game. But again, I mean, in our game, you have this Russian general who's in the region, and he's got a bunker there. So it's not unreasonable to think that they would fly a Hind in to try to exfiltrate him or something. So these are things. These are things that the creative liberties that we take, because gameplay and story is first. Historical accuracy is definitely second, but it is important that we get as authentic of an experience as possible, because that aids in the player immersion. So it's a heavily enhanced, modified World at War engine that is powering Black Ops. After World at War, we itemized a list of every area in the engine that we thought we wanted to develop further. One of those things was texture streaming. We built texture streaming into the engine, and that allows that really allows you to get those ridiculously large maps, those ridiculously large levels that you saw with Payback. It starts off like a normal Call of Duty level, and then when you take off and rise up above the canopy, it's a whole new world that opens up, and that's only made possible through texture streaming. Another huge renovation, I guess you could call it, to the engine was with the lighting system. We completely rebuilt that from the ground up. So you probably saw that a bit with the way the light was glistening off the wet arms and suits, and the God rays coming down through through the water when you're swimming, which is another new game mechanic, by the way, or the dynamic flashlight in the tunnels, or the bloom effect from Payback. So lighting was a big focus for us as well. Not every improvement to graphically or visually is an engine improvement. A lot of that is also art. Our artists have made a lot of Call of Duty games, and they know what the engine and platform is capable of, and they know they know what the best practices are and how to use the tool chains. They understand them really well, so they're able to create some really visually appealing stuff. And so some of the new fire effects that you see, and the billowing black oily smoke and whatnot, a lot of that's actually just art driven. Call of Duty Black Ops will be available November 9th on the Xbox 360, the PlayStation 3, the PC, and the Wii, and the PC players will have dedicated servers.